Tonight, we're going to look at something that seems quiet and hidden, but turns out to be one of the most surprising discoveries of our time. Lost cities buried deep inside the Amazon rainforest. For many years, people believed this place was mostly empty, shaped only by nature. Historians repeated it, maps supported it. But here's what most people never expected. When new technology called Lidar began to scan the forest from above, it started to see through the trees. And what it revealed changed everything. Roads where no roads should be. Shapes where no cities were supposed to exist. Evidence of large societies hidden for centuries under leaves and shadow. This isn't just about finding old ruins. It's about rewriting what we thought we knew about the Amazon and the people who lived there long before us. And by the end of this journey, you'll understand why this discovery matters and why it forces us to rethink human history itself. Before we continue, if you enjoy slow, deep stories like this, a simple like or subscribe really helps support the channel. It takes a second for you, but it helps this work continue. Now, let's begin. Above the Amazon, a plane drifts slowly over endless green. It is not a simple flight. From the belly of the aircraft, a machine sends out thousands of invisible laser pulses every second. Each pulse strikes the canopy, bounces back, and records the exact distance between the plane and the treetops. This is Lidar, short for light detection and ranging. It works like a very precise ruler from the sky, tracing shapes and contours that the eye cannot see. The light travels at a speed so fast it seems instantaneous. When it hits the leaves, branches, and ground, it creates a detailed cloud of points. Each point is a piece of the puzzle, and together they form a three-dimensional map of the forest floor. The forest is thick. Trees tower and spread so densely that no human can walk in a straight line for more than a few steps without hitting roots, vines, or undergrowth. Traditional archaeology in such conditions is slow and uncertain. Digging with shovels, probing the soil, moving through mud and water, these methods could take years to cover even a small area. Lidar removes that barrier. From above, it sees what the ground hides. The lasers are precise enough to detect earthworks, walls, and even small mounds that would be invisible under the green. Patterns emerge that the forest itself tried to conceal for centuries. Straight lines, rectangles, circles. They appear as if the earth were drawn by human hands, yet they remain untouched and unnoticed for generations. Flying over the rainforest, the first view seems ordinary. Dense green stretches endlessly. But when the data is processed, the world below transforms. Digital colors highlight elevation changes. What was once flat and uniform suddenly shows ridges, terraces, and depressions. Canals, roads, plazas, and building foundations emerge from the imagery. It is a revelation. Shapes that would be impossible to spot on foot stand clearly when thousands of points of data are combined. The forest's secrets are exposed with quiet precision. Every pulse from the Lidar scanner adds another layer, another detail, until the landscape beneath becomes a fully mapped terrain. The method itself is simple in principle, but revolutionary in application. Ground-based survey teams have limitations. They can follow a path, measure a mound, or excavate a small area. But they cannot quickly see the scale or pattern of entire civilizations hidden under thick foliage. Lidar solves this by reaching over barriers. It measures the vertical structure of the forest and distinguishes between leaf, branch, and soil. This allows archaeologists to ignore the trees above and focus on what lies beneath. Suddenly, large networks of settlements that once seemed impossible in the Amazon are not only visible, they are quantifiable. Distances between structures, the alignment of roads, the layout of plazas. These details all emerge without a single shovel hitting the ground. Lidar was not invented for the Amazon. Early successes came in places like the jungles of Cambodia and Guatemala, where hidden temples and cities lay beneath tropical trees. In each case, Lidar uncovered patterns impossible to see from the air or ground. Those results were promising, but the Amazon presented unique challenges. It is larger, wetter, and far more diverse in its ecology. Thick vines, multiple layers of canopy, and frequent rainfall made traditional mapping nearly impossible. Many experts once believed that no airborne technology could reveal complex structures under such conditions. The forest seemed too dense, the ground too irregular, and the noise from leaves too chaotic for clear signals. Yet Lidar's precision and speed proved them wrong. It did not just hint at hidden structures, it revealed them in detail no one had expected. As the aircraft continues its sweep, the lasers reach the ground beneath tall trees. Tiny variations in soil level, subtle mounds, and circular depressions become visible. Even ancient roads, now overgrown and eroded, appear as thin lines. The system is sensitive enough to detect differences in height of just a few centimeters. When thousands of such points are combined, the result is a map that reconstructs the forest floor with accuracy and clarity. Archaeologists can now plan expeditions with exact targets, knowing which areas to study more closely and which features might indicate larger settlements. The jungle is no longer an opaque barrier. It is a transparent layer hiding clues to human history. Processing the data is as important as collecting it. Raw points are transformed into digital terrain models, color-coded to show height variations. Software filters out the canopy, leaving only the ground surface. Gradually, geometric patterns become visible. Some appear as rectangular foundations, others as circular mounds. Canals and ditches show linear continuity over hundreds of meters. Plazas form recognizable open spaces. The scale and precision of the results astonish experts. Entire villages, previously invisible beneath dense foliage, can now be visualized in a single frame. Lidar does not guess. It records. It reveals the physical imprint of societies that left no stone monuments, that disappeared long before Europeans arrived, and whose traces were nearly impossible to detect using older methods. The implications are immense. Lidar turns exploration into observation. Instead of trekking blindly through mud and thorns, scientists can now survey hundreds of square kilometers quickly. Patterns that would have taken decades to recognize by ground survey are clear within hours. Straight roads linking settlements, ceremonial platforms, and defensive earthworks appear in sharp relief. These features suggest planning, organization, and social complexity previously underestimated. Cities that seemed impossible in the heart of the jungle suddenly exist in high definition. Lidar also allows comparison across regions, revealing connections and hierarchies that were invisible until the data emerged. It offers a bird's-eye view of ancient life, showing that human presence in the Amazon was far more extensive than history recorded. Flying over a new survey area, one can see the data gradually build. Green areas fade, replaced by greys, blues, and reds, each indicating elevation differences. The lines of ancient roads stretch straight for hundreds of meters, while circular plazas appear at intersections. Mounds, evenly spaced, suggest dwellings or communal structures. The forest appears less chaotic and more structured. Each new pulse confirms a pattern. The technology removes the guesswork. It does not rely on chance discovery or anecdotal reports. It shows the landscape as it was shaped by human hands, beneath the thick green that gave the illusion of an untouched wilderness. These images transform understanding of the Amazon, turning it from mystery into measurable reality. Even small details are captured. Terraces built along slopes, small channels to control water flow, and low walls that defined spaces are all visible. Archaeologists can estimate the size and function of structures, the alignment of roads, and the possible scale of communities. Lidar creates a level of documentation impossible with the human eye alone. Patterns of settlement, agriculture, and infrastructure, long buried under vegetation, are now clear. It demonstrates that the Amazon was not simply a random expanse of trees and rivers. It was home to organized societies capable of shaping the land, managing water, and creating complex urban layouts in a tropical environment that many considered too difficult for large-scale civilization. This is why Lidar is revolutionary. It does not replace traditional archaeology. It enhances it. By guiding expeditions, it saves time and resources. By revealing hidden structures, it challenges assumptions. And by providing precise measurements, it allows scientists to analyze patterns at a scale impossible on the ground. What once required imagination and inference now becomes visible evidence. The Amazon, long considered a frontier of unknown and uninhabited wilderness, is transformed into a network of traces, paths, and structures. The technology forces a re-evaluation of human history in one of the world's most challenging environments. No longer is the jungle a wall. It is a window into a lost civilization waiting to be understood. The first Lidar surveys over the Amazon were cautious. Researchers targeted areas along major rivers and known archaeological sites, flying over hundreds of square kilometers with slow, deliberate passes. From above, the forest looked uniform, a sea of green stretching in all directions. The scanners sent laser pulses into the canopy, each one returning thousands of data points. When processed, the results were unlike anything expected. Beneath the trees, geometric shapes emerged. Straight lines cut through the forest. Rectangles and circles appeared with sharp edges. Earthworks formed grids, some stretching for hundreds of meters. The patterns were unmistakable. These were not random hills or natural formations. They were built by human hands. In the northern and central Amazon, these surveys revealed complex mounds. Some were circular, others square or rectangular. Many were arranged in clear patterns, forming plazas, ceremonial spaces, or foundations for dwellings. Linear features, once invisible beneath layers of leaves, now connected these structures. Roads, sometimes straight for kilometers, linked settlements across the forest. Canals and small reservoirs indicated planning for water management. The sheer scale of the discoveries stunned researchers. What had seemed to be scattered, small communities in earlier studies now revealed themselves as organized networks. Entire settlements spanned areas larger than most modern towns, evidence that human life in the Amazon had been concentrated and sophisticated. The size of these hidden cities was remarkable. Some earthworks formed circles over 200 meters wide. Roads stretched for several kilometers in straight lines, a feat nearly impossible to build without coordination. Plazas appeared at regular intervals, suggesting shared communal spaces. Archaeologists noted the scale was far beyond what was previously thought possible in tropical forest conditions. The settlements were not isolated. Patterns suggested communication and trade between sites. The Lidar maps revealed entire regions previously assumed to be empty wilderness. Large populations had lived, farmed, and built in these areas centuries ago. The Amazon was not a sparsely inhabited backwater. It had been a thriving center of human activity. Initial reactions were mixed. Some archaeologists were skeptical. How could such large structures exist in an environment so hostile to preservation? The rainforest, with its constant growth and decay, seemed unlikely to hold traces of ancient civilizations. Some suggested the shapes could be natural formations, artifacts of erosion, or coincidence. Field verification was essential. Teams began navigating rivers, trekking through mud and dense undergrowth, following the coordinates suggested by Lidar data. What they found confirmed the scans. Earthworks matched the digital maps. Mounds, plazas, and canals were exactly where the laser pulses had indicated. The precision of Lidar turned speculation into observation, giving scientists confidence in their interpretations. Skepticism faded as evidence accumulated. Lidar also revealed the planning behind these settlements. Straight roads, perfectly aligned, connected major plazas to outlying structures. Canals ran parallel to roads, showing advanced knowledge of water flow. Terraces on slopes suggested cultivation techniques adapted to rainforest conditions. Some mounds showed signs of repeated occupation over generations, indicating long-term habitation. These discoveries forced a re-evaluation of previous assumptions. The Amazon was not just a place where small temporary communities survived. It was home to enduring settlements, with organization and planning previously attributed only to civilizations in drier or temperate regions. The technology allowed comparisons across vast areas. Patterns repeated in multiple regions, suggesting common practices or shared knowledge among communities separated by tens of kilometers. Plazas, mounds, and roads followed similar designs, indicating cultural continuity. These settlements were interconnected, forming networks of human habitation that spanned rivers, hills, and valleys. Lidar made it possible to visualize these connections in 3 dimensions, allowing researchers to see the full scope of settlement patterns. Color-coded maps highlighted differences in elevation, size, and layout, making it clear where ceremonial centers stood apart from residential areas. The forest, once opaque, now revealed the structure of ancient society in vivid clarity. The rediscovered structures challenged earlier narratives of Amazonian history. For decades, scholars assumed that large-scale civilization was impossible in the dense rainforest. The harsh climate, poor soil, and frequent flooding were thought to limit population and complexity. Lidar provided proof to the contrary. The geometric precision, scale, and organization of the settlements demonstrated advanced knowledge of construction, land management, and urban planning. Human presence in the Amazon was neither marginal nor temporary. Entire communities had shaped the land to support life, agriculture, and social activity over centuries. The invisible cities forced a new understanding of what the Amazon could support and what humans could achieve in extreme environments. The first discoveries also hinted at sophistication in agriculture. Canals and raised fields suggested that these societies managed water to prevent flooding and increase soil fertility. Terraces on hillsides allowed crops to grow in otherwise steep or difficult terrain. Some mounds may have supported communal structures or ceremonial spaces, indicating social and religious organization. The scale and complexity of these earthworks could not be accidental. Lidar revealed that ancient peoples had a vision for their settlements, constructing systems that functioned across entire landscapes. These innovations allowed dense populations to thrive, where once it was assumed survival would be limited to small, scattered groups. Visualizing the discoveries was transformative. Three-dimensional Lidar models provided immersive views of entire settlements. Plazas, roads, and canals could be traced from above, as if walking through the forest without disturbing a single tree. Color-coded elevation maps highlighted subtle changes in terrain that corresponded to human construction. Researchers could rotate images, zoom in on small features, and see how individual structures connected across kilometers. The maps made invisible networks tangible, revealing the interconnected nature of these communities. Lidar transformed data into experience, allowing scientists to perceive ancient life from a perspective impossible on the ground alone. The cumulative effect of these early surveys was profound. The Amazon, once thought empty or lightly inhabited, revealed itself as a complex human landscape. Lidar confirmed that geometric earthworks, roads, and settlements existed in multiple regions, not as anomalies, but as widespread phenomena. These discoveries required careful interpretation and further investigation. Field teams validated the scans by locating mounds, canals, and terraces exactly where Lidar predicted. Archaeologists began to rethink assumptions about human potential in tropical forests. Each new survey area added to a growing picture of a civilization whose scale, organization, and ingenuity had been hidden under centuries of forest growth. As the first discoveries continued to emerge, questions multiplied. How many settlements existed? How were they connected? What technologies and social systems allowed these populations to thrive? Lidar provided the answers to what was physically present, but it also raised new mysteries about the people who built these cities, the rhythms of their daily life, and the reasons for their eventual disappearance. Every new map expanded the known boundaries of human activity in the Amazon, hinting at a civilization far larger and more organized than history had acknowledged. The technology had revealed the skeleton of an entire world, long hidden beneath green leaves. Beneath the dense canopy of the Amazon, the evidence of human ingenuity stretches across the land. Lidar maps show settlements with carefully arranged plazas, mounds, and roads. The scale and structure of these spaces suggest societies far more organized than once believed. People lived not in small scattered groups, but in coordinated communities capable of planning and maintaining urban layouts. Earthworks show alignment with cardinal directions, placement of communal spaces, and channels for water management. These designs indicate knowledge of geometry, spatial organization, and environmental adaptation. Each settlement tells a story of social cooperation, technical skill, and long-term planning. Population estimates derived from these structures suggest tens of thousands of people lived across the Amazon long before European contact. Some sites contain dozens of mounds, plazas and roads, hinting at hundreds or even thousands of residents within a single settlement. Networks of connected villages imply regional coordination and trade. Anthropologists calculate that certain river valleys could have supported populations comparable to large European towns of the same era. The idea of a sparsely populated wilderness, familiar from historical accounts, is challenged by this evidence. The forest, once assumed empty or only lightly used, was home to dense and thriving societies. Agriculture played a central role in sustaining these populations. Raised fields, terraces, and canals indicate careful manipulation of the land to control water and enhance fertility. Crops were grown systematically, with consideration for flood cycles, soil types, and nutrient distribution. These techniques ensured a steady food supply even in the wet, challenging environment of the rainforest. Evidence of managed forests, orchards, and polyculture plots suggests that ancient people cultivated not just for subsistence, but for stability and resilience. Human activity did not destroy the forest. It shaped it to support life on a large scale. One of the most remarkable features of Amazonian agriculture is terra preta, or fertile anthropogenic soil. Unlike the surrounding soil, which is naturally poor in nutrients, terra preta is rich, dark, and capable of sustaining crops for centuries. It was created by adding charcoal, organic waste, and other materials to the soil, a deliberate process of long-term soil management. This innovation allowed populations to farm intensively without depleting the land. The presence of terra preta beneath many Lidar-identified settlements confirms the scale of human modification. Entire regions were transformed to support urbanized life, and the fertility of these soils persists even today, centuries after their creation. Urban planning is evident in the arrangement of streets, plazas, and residential mounds. Roads connect major centers with straight alignments and carefully measured distances. Plazas functioned as gathering spaces, likely for social, ceremonial, or administrative purposes. Residential mounds indicate living spaces raised above flood-prone terrain, showing understanding of local hydrology. Canals and small reservoirs provided water storage and management. Together, these features demonstrate that Amazonian communities were not simple villages, but complex societies capable of coordinating construction, agriculture, and resource management over large areas. Misconceptions from early European accounts shaped long-held beliefs about the Amazon. Explorers described the region as wild, dangerous, and sparsely inhabited. Reports of small tribes and scattered villages reinforced the idea that the forest could not support large populations. These impressions were based on limited contact, language barriers, and misunderstanding of indigenous land use. Lidar and fieldwork now reveal that these assumptions were incomplete. The empty forest was in fact a human-shaped landscape where the legacy of past civilizations remained hidden beneath layers of vegetation. Early observers could not see the scale, but technology now makes it clear. Evidence of societal complexity extends beyond architecture and agriculture. Settlement patterns suggest hierarchical structures with larger central plazas surrounded by smaller mounds and outlying areas. This spatial organization implies leadership or coordinated governance. Roads linking settlements indicate trade, communication, and shared cultural practices. Ceremonial structures hint at religious and cultural life. artifacts recovered from field surveys, such as pottery and tools, provide further insight into daily activity, craftsmanship, and social roles. The organization of space reflects a society that understood not only survival, but also planning, cohesion, and cultural expression. Rivers were central to life and organization. Settlements often appear near waterways, with roads connecting to river routes. The waterways provided transportation, access to fish, and irrigation for agriculture. Lidar mapping shows patterns of cultivation and habitation that align closely with river networks. This integration of natural and constructed landscapes demonstrates the ability to adapt urban planning to environmental conditions. People managed both the forest and the rivers, shaping landscapes that supported dense populations while maintaining ecological balance. The connectivity of settlements via rivers and roads reflects strategic planning across broad areas. The discovery of these societies also challenges assumptions about technological limits in the tropics. Structures required tools, coordination, and knowledge of soil, wood, and water management. Mounds, terraces, and canals required significant labor and planning. The creation of fertile soils like terra preta shows understanding of chemistry, agriculture, and sustainability. These achievements suggest that the Amazonian peoples were not simply surviving, but actively engineering their environment for long-term occupation. Human innovation, adapted to the rainforest, enabled urban life on a scale previously considered impossible in tropical forests. Visuals from Lidar and field surveys illustrate the scale vividly. Aerial views reveal patterns of farmland, plazas, and canals, while satellite imagery confirms the extent of settlements across valleys and ridges. Color-coded elevation maps highlight subtle differences in terrain corresponding to human construction. The spatial relationships among mounds, roads, and plazas suggest deliberate planning and social organization. These patterns, consistent across regions, demonstrate shared cultural knowledge. The forest canopy, once concealing all evidence of settlement, now becomes a lens through which human history can be reconstructed and understood in unprecedented detail. The persistence of these traces emphasizes the long-term impact of human activity. Even centuries after abandonment, earthworks remain visible under Lidar. Soil modification, canal networks, and terraces have survived floods, erosion, and regrowth. These legacies show that pre-Columbian Amazonian societies left durable marks on the land. The evidence is both physical and conceptual, reshaping understanding of human potential in extreme environments. The forest is no longer merely a natural space. It is a landscape molded by human hands, reflecting centuries of planning, labor, and adaptation. Understanding these societies offers insight into human-environment interaction. Populations managed resources sustainably, modified landscapes without destroying them, and created urban systems that integrated with natural cycles. Roads, canals, and mounds reflect coordination and foresight. Agricultural innovations allowed for population growth without ecological collapse. The forest supported large numbers of people, contradicting assumptions of tropical limitations. Lidar and field research together demonstrate that Amazonian societies achieved a balance between technological skill, social organization, and environmental adaptation that allowed them to thrive in one of the world's most challenging ecosystems. These discoveries also inform modern science and conservation. Knowing that dense populations once lived in the Amazon and that soils and infrastructure persist helps researchers understand historical biodiversity patterns. Agroforestry practices and landscape management techniques from pre-Columbian societies offer lessons in sustainable living and long-term land use. Lidar maps not only document the past, but provide insights relevant to contemporary ecological management. Understanding how humans shaped the Amazon centuries ago allows scientists to differentiate between natural and anthropogenic patterns in vegetation, soil, and water systems. The past becomes a guide for understanding resilience, adaptation, and the interplay between society and environment. Overall, pre-Columbian Amazonian societies emerge from obscurity through data, observation, and analysis. Lidar has revealed settlements, road networks, and agricultural innovations that demonstrate planning, social coordination, and environmental mastery. Terra preta soils, raised fields, canals, and mounds all testify to the skill and ingenuity of these communities. They thrived in conditions once thought hostile to urban life. Misconceptions from early accounts have been overturned. The Amazon, far from being an untouched wilderness, was shaped by human hands, leaving a legacy that continues to inform science, archaeology, and our understanding of what civilizations in extreme environments can achieve. The layout of Amazonian settlements reveals careful planning. Roads stretch in straight lines, connecting plazas, mounds, and clusters of dwellings. Some roads run for kilometers, cutting through forest and following subtle contours of the land. Intersections mark larger communal spaces. Plazas form the heart of settlements, open areas likely used for gatherings, ceremonies, or markets. Mounds rise at regular intervals around these plazas, serving as foundations for homes or public buildings. Defensive ditches and earthworks appear at strategic points, suggesting concern for security or territorial boundaries. The arrangement is deliberate, not random, showing an understanding of space, function, and social organization. Hydrological engineering is evident throughout the landscape. Canals, reservoirs, and channels manage water flow across flat and uneven terrain. Raised fields prevent flooding of crops during the rainy season. Terraces on slopes reduce soil erosion and maximize arable land. Some canals link directly to rivers, suggesting transportation as well as irrigation. Reservoirs store water for dry periods, indicating planning for seasonal cycles. The construction of these systems required knowledge of hydraulics, soil, and water behavior. Communities adapted the natural environment to meet their needs while maintaining balance with local ecosystems. Road networks demonstrate a regional vision. They connect not only buildings within a settlement, but also link distant villages. Straight alignments indicate careful surveying, perhaps using sightlines or natural landmarks. Roads often follow the terrain's natural slope to prevent waterlogging or erosion. Smaller paths branch off to access fields, ceremonial spaces, or residential mounds. This network reflects coordination between multiple communities and implies communication and oversight. Roads show that settlements were not isolated. They were part of a larger system where movement of people, goods, and information was deliberate and organized. Plazas and communal areas illustrate social planning. Central spaces serve as points of assembly, reflecting cultural and administrative needs. Surrounding mounds may have housed leaders, religious figures, or specialized craftsmen. The symmetry and spacing of structures suggest rules or conventions governing construction. Open areas were maintained, leveled and cleared, requiring ongoing effort and social cooperation. These features reveal that planning was not limited to physical construction. It extended to daily life, social hierarchy, and community function. The settlements were designed to support both practical needs and cultural practices. The scale of engineering is striking. Individual mounds range from a few meters to tens of meters in height. Canals span hundreds of meters, carefully leveled to ensure flow. Reservoirs can hold enough water to sustain communities during dry periods. Terraces and raised fields convert uneven or flood-prone land into productive agricultural zones. Earthworks sometimes extend across entire valleys, forming continuous defensive or functional structures. The construction of these features required coordinated labor, technical knowledge, and long-term planning. They represent an advanced understanding of engineering principles applied in a challenging environment. Comparisons with contemporary urban systems highlight sophistication. While some cities in Europe or Asia developed stone architecture, the Amazonian approach relied on earth, water management, and careful spatial planning. The settlements demonstrate that urban complexity does not depend on stone or permanent masonry. Roads, canals, and plazas achieve functionality and organization in ways suited to the rainforest. The level of planning is comparable to other ancient civilizations, but adapted to a tropical environment with seasonal floods, heavy rainfall, and dense vegetation. Amazonian engineering is an example of human ingenuity responding to local conditions rather than replicating distant models. Defensive structures indicate strategic thought. Ditches, embankments, and mounds are positioned to control access to plazas or villages. They may have served as barriers against flooding or intruders. In some areas, earthworks form concentric rings around settlements, a design that combines protection with clear social organization. The integration of defense with daily life and infrastructure shows that planning extended beyond agriculture and habitation. Communities anticipated challenges and incorporated solutions into their overall design, demonstrating foresight and engineering skill. Water management extends beyond canals and reservoirs. Settlements were designed to channel excess water during rains and retain moisture during dry periods. Raised fields elevate crops above flood-prone areas. Terraces stabilize slopes and prevent soil loss. Canals regulate flow, linking reservoirs to fields and settlement centers. This network supports both agriculture and transport, integrating natural cycles with human needs. Engineering was not limited to single structures, but functioned as a system across the landscape. Hydrology shaped settlement layout, and settlements shaped hydrology in return. The precision of earthworks is apparent in Lidar imagery. Linear features appear straight across uneven terrain. Terraces and raised fields show consistent height differences. Canals are graded to maintain flow over long distances. Plazas and mounds align with roads and each other. The data confirm that these structures were built according to careful measurements, not ad hoc construction. Patterns repeat across regions, suggesting shared standards or cultural norms. This uniformity reflects the transmission of knowledge, skill, and techniques over time and space. Field verification reinforces Lidar findings. Archaeologists visiting sites find canals, mounds, and terraces exactly where scans indicate. Raised fields contain remnants of crops. Reservoirs hold water or show sediment patterns consistent with long-term use. Earthworks align with natural drainage patterns, confirming engineering intent. Each confirmation strengthens confidence in the interpretation of Lidar data. These observations reveal a system of urban planning and engineering that extends across hundreds of square kilometers, connecting settlements in a cohesive network. Settlements integrate human and natural elements. Roads follow gentle slopes, canals adapt to terrain, and mounds rise above flood zones. Agricultural and urban systems coexist with rivers, wetlands, and forests. This integration reflects understanding of local ecology, hydrology, and seasonal changes. Engineering decisions are practical, responsive, and sustainable. The landscape is shaped by human effort, yet remains functional within natural processes. The design demonstrates foresight, flexibility, and adaptation, hallmarks of sophisticated urban planning in a challenging environment. The cumulative impact of these systems is substantial. Canals, roads, and terraces transform raw land into productive, navigable, and habitable spaces. Water management protects agriculture, facilitates transport, and supports daily life. The placement of plazas and mounds regulates social space, reinforcing hierarchy and coordination. Defensive structures ensure security. The overall effect is an organized, functional, and resilient settlement, capable of supporting dense populations over long periods. Lidar provides the blueprint of this engineering, revealing the full scale and logic of these ancient systems. The visual record emphasizes coherence. Drone footage shows terraces running along hillsides, canals linking fields, and roads connecting clusters of mounds. Color-coded maps highlight elevation, slope, and structural patterns. Networks of settlements become visible at regional scales. Lidar reveals the geometric order underlying apparent chaos. Features that appear irregular at ground level fit into systematic designs when viewed in 3 dimensions. Researchers can trace lines, measure distances, and understand the engineering logic behind layouts. Patterns of construction, water management, and social organization are unmistakable. The discoveries demonstrate problem-solving at scale. Communities balanced agriculture, urban life, and environmental challenges. Roads provided access, canals regulated water, mounds offered dry living space. These solutions were interconnected. A failure in one system could affect the others, showing the need for coordinated planning and maintenance. The complexity of these systems reflects both technical skill and social organization. Populations could not have sustained such infrastructure without collective effort, shared knowledge, and effective communication. Amazonian urban planning was as much social as it was structural. The broader implication is clear. Pre-Columbian engineering in the Amazon was sophisticated, adaptive, and extensive. Civilizations did not rely on stone or imported technology. They used earth, water, and local materials to create urban systems that functioned over large areas. Planning incorporated daily life, agriculture, defense, and ecology. Settlements were organized, resilient, and integrated into the surrounding environment. Lidar reveals these accomplishments with precision, showing a level of engineering knowledge that challenges prior assumptions about the capabilities of societies in tropical forests. Finally, the evidence reshapes understanding of human potential in extreme environments. The rainforest, long viewed as a barrier, was a canvas for large-scale engineering. Communities modified terrain, managed water, and structured social spaces. Roads, plazas, mounds, and canals demonstrate coordination, foresight, and technical skill. These discoveries place Amazonian engineering on a scale comparable to contemporary civilizations elsewhere, adapted to local challenges. The forest conceals these achievements today, but Lidar allows them to emerge, revealing a network of settlements that was deliberate, complex, and resilient. Ancient human innovation is etched into the land, awaiting study, interpretation, and understanding. The scale of human presence in the Amazon is staggering. Lidar surveys revealed hundreds of settlements stretching across river valleys and hills. Some areas contain dozens of mounds, plazas, and road networks clustered together. Other regions showed networks of settlements connected by straight roads that ran for tens of kilometers. Each survey expanded the known footprint of ancient civilizations. Populations that were once thought to be small and scattered now appear to have been dense and widespread. The evidence suggests that tens of thousands of people could have lived across the forest, their communities interlinked and coordinated in ways previously unimaginable. Settlements were not isolated. Roads, canals, and paths indicate extensive regional connectivity. Trade networks likely existed, allowing exchange of goods, food, and tools. Lidar shows repeated patterns across separate areas, suggesting shared knowledge, cultural practices, and communication between communities. Some roads extend for kilometers in straight lines, cutting through terrain that would have been difficult to traverse on foot. Canals connected waterways to settlements, enabling transport of resources and linking villages along rivers. The infrastructure shows careful planning on a scale that required collaboration across large distances. Layered Lidar imagery reveals overlapping networks of settlements. In some regions, multiple sites can be seen in a single frame, each connected to others through roads or paths. Roads often intersect at plazas or central mounds, indicating hubs of activity. Some canals link fields to larger storage areas or reservoirs, demonstrating water management at regional levels. By visualizing the landscape in 3 dimensions, archaeologists can trace the flow of goods, people, and information between settlements. Patterns that were invisible from the ground suddenly reveal a highly organized and connected civilization spanning hundreds of square kilometers. Population estimates rise with each new discovery. Some large settlements may have supported several thousand inhabitants. When smaller surrounding villages are included, total populations in surveyed areas could reach tens of thousands. These figures challenge earlier assumptions that the Amazon could only support sparse, semi-nomadic communities. The combination of fertile soils, engineered fields, and water management allowed larger populations to survive and thrive. Lidar demonstrates that human influence on the rainforest was significant and that these civilizations left lasting marks on the land. Evidence of regional planning extends beyond the largest settlements. Smaller mounds, terraces, and canals align with central plazas and main roads, forming coherent networks. The consistency of layout across multiple sites suggests shared rules or conventions for construction. Resources such as water, food, and raw materials appear to have been managed with foresight. Connections between villages, combined with agricultural innovations, created a stable network capable of supporting dense populations in areas previously considered inhospitable. These findings demonstrate that Amazonian societies were complex at both local and regional scales. The implications for understanding environmental impact are profound. These civilizations modified the landscape to suit their needs, creating productive farmland, terraces, and water systems that integrated with natural features. Canals and reservoirs prevented flooding and sustained crops during dry periods. Roads and paths facilitated movement and trade. The physical footprint of these communities transformed the forest without destroying it. Lidar shows patterns of land use over tens of kilometers, revealing the extent of human influence in areas once thought untouched. Human management of resources shaped the ecology of the rainforest on a significant scale. Some of the largest LIDAR-detected networks reveal continuity across generations. Settlements appear to have been built, expanded, and maintained over long periods. Canals were repaired or extended. Roads were straightened or lengthened. Plazas were leveled and mounds rebuilt. This long-term maintenance indicates stable social organization, leadership, and planning. Networks of settlements suggest cooperation not only within communities, but across regions. Trade and communication networks enabled resources to flow efficiently, reducing vulnerability to environmental challenges and allowing populations to grow. Layered images reveal alignment between settlements, waterways, and topography. Roads often follow gentle slopes to avoid erosion and flooding. Canals connect higher and lower areas, balancing water distribution. Terraces and raised fields occupy floodplains or slopes where water control was necessary. This integration demonstrates sophisticated understanding of hydrology and terrain. The spatial organization across multiple settlements shows deliberate choices about where to build, cultivate, and manage resources. These networks reflect knowledge and foresight at regional, not just local, scales. Lidar also allows calculation of the area and volume of earthworks, providing insights into labor investment. Large mounds require moving thousands of cubic meters of soil. Terraces, canals, and reservoirs reflect sustained human effort. Estimates suggest that communities collaborated in coordinated labor to create functional landscapes capable of supporting thousands of people. The scale of work, combined with the precision of planning, indicates complex social systems with leadership, division of labor, and long-term organization. These results challenge any notion that Amazonian societies were small or unsophisticated. Networks extend across river systems, linking settlements separated by tens of kilometers. The presence of straight roads connecting distant sites implies surveying and mapping capabilities. Canals and waterways may have been used to transport goods, food, and materials efficiently. Lidar reveals these connections clearly, showing that settlements functioned as nodes within broader regional networks. The extent of connectivity implies cultural cohesion and shared knowledge, enabling coordination of agriculture, trade, and social practices across vast areas. The cumulative scale revealed by Lidar demonstrates that the Amazon was home to civilizations that were both large and complex. Tens of thousands of people inhabited interlinked settlements, managing resources, shaping the land, and maintaining social networks. Roads, canals, plazas, and mounds span kilometers, reflecting coordinated planning at regional levels. Settlements appear designed to last, with maintenance and expansion over generations. This evidence rewrites the perception of the Amazon as a sparsely inhabited wilderness, showing instead a human-shaped landscape of remarkable complexity. Even small details matter. Minor terraces, irrigation channels, and minor mounds contribute to understanding the full network of settlements. When these smaller features are included, the scale becomes even more impressive. Lidar allows archaeologists to see not only the largest cities, but also the smaller communities that form the backbone of the regional network. The interplay between major settlements and peripheral sites demonstrates planning, resource distribution, and communication at multiple scales. Each discovery adds to the picture of a civilization that was sophisticated, resilient, and interconnected. The evidence reshapes understanding of the Amazon's prehistory. Networks of settlements reveal that human populations were capable of shaping landscapes over vast distances. Roads, canals, and water systems demonstrate advanced engineering adapted to local conditions. Plazas, mounds, and urban layouts indicate social and cultural complexity. Connectivity across settlements shows trade, communication, and shared practices. The scale of these civilizations challenges prior assumptions and highlights the ability of pre-Columbian societies to thrive in tropical forests on a scale previously thought impossible. As Lidar surveys expand, new discoveries continue to extend the known scale. Settlements once considered isolated are now understood as part of vast regional networks. Canals, roads, and terraces link areas separated by rivers, hills, and valleys. Population estimates increase as archaeologists map more sites. The interconnected nature of settlements demonstrates that human management of the Amazon was extensive and deliberate. These civilizations were not small, temporary, or marginal. They were organized, adaptable, and capable of sustaining large populations over long periods. The patterns revealed by Lidar also inform environmental understanding. Areas once considered untouched wilderness show signs of long-term human management. Canals, reservoirs, and roads reflect deliberate alteration of the landscape to support agriculture, transport, and habitation. The human footprint is extensive, yet integrated with natural systems. These civilizations demonstrate that dense human populations can coexist with tropical forests when knowledge, planning, and engineering are applied. Lidar transforms the perception of the Amazon, revealing a hidden civilization that shaped the forest over centuries. Visualizations of these networks emphasize the scale and connectivity. Layered Lidar images show multiple settlements at once, highlighting roads linking mounds, plazas, and canals. Different elevations and features are color-coded to indicate function, size, or chronology. Archaeologists can see relationships between settlements that were invisible from the ground. Networks stretching for tens of kilometers reveal regional planning, resource distribution, and social coordination. Lidar converts hidden landscapes into measurable, analyzable systems, revealing a civilization that was vast, interconnected, and highly organized. These findings have lasting implications. The scale of human occupation suggests that pre-Columbian societies had profound effects on the environment. Soils were enriched, waterways managed, and vegetation altered. Roads and canals facilitated movement, trade, and communication. Populations were dense, settlements were extensive, and networks were interconnected. Lidar demonstrates that the Amazon was a human-shaped landscape, not merely a natural wilderness. Understanding the scale and connectivity of these civilizations provides insight into their technology, organization, and the lasting marks they left on the rainforest. The Amazon rainforest, often imagined as untouched wilderness, bears clear signs of human shaping. Lidar reveals terraces, canals and settlements embedded within the green canopy, demonstrating that human activity transformed the landscape over centuries. Far from being a simple, natural forest, large areas were cultivated, modified, and managed. Roads and plazas intersect with rivers and hills. Fields were raised to prevent flooding. Canals channeled water to support crops. Mounds formed elevated living spaces. These modifications integrated with the ecosystem, allowing humans to live densely without destroying surrounding biodiversity. Agroforestry was a central feature of Amazonian land management. Communities cultivated useful plants among native trees, creating multi-layered gardens that provided food, medicine, and materials. Fruit trees, nut-bearing species, and edible roots were interspersed with timber and medicinal plants. Raised fields and terraced plots increased productivity and reduced soil erosion. Crops were rotated or interplanted to maintain soil fertility and prevent pest outbreaks. Agroforestry mimicked natural forest structures, maintaining habitats for animals and preserving forest diversity. Humans actively shaped biodiversity while sustaining their own populations. Evidence of soil enrichment underscores long-term ecological management. Terra preta, dark fertile soil created by mixing charcoal, organic matter and ash into the ground, improved productivity in otherwise poor soils. This anthropogenic soil persists today, providing fertile patches that contrast sharply with the surrounding infertile ground. Terra preta supported continuous farming, allowing larger populations and dense settlements. Its presence indicates knowledge of soil chemistry, long-term planning, and an understanding of how human activity can coexist with the natural environment. The soil is both a tool and a record of centuries of human-environment interaction. Lidar reveals altered landscapes in subtle ways. Canals follow natural watercourses, but extend beyond what rivers alone could manage. Terraces reshape slopes, while raised fields punctuate floodplains. Even areas that appear fully forested contain hidden infrastructure beneath the canopy. Paths and roads link mounds, plazas, and fields across kilometers. These features show that humans manage the flow of water, the fertility of soil, and the arrangement of vegetation. The forest is a living record of human adaptation, demonstrating how people could create productive landscapes without large-scale deforestation or monoculture farming. The relationship between humans and biodiversity is complex. Settlements supported plants and animals adapted to human presence. Managed forests encouraged the growth of edible and useful species. Fish were trapped in canals, small mammals hunted sustainably, and forested areas preserved for foraging and hunting. Wildlife coexisted with human infrastructure, adapting to cultivated zones while maintaining ecological balance. These practices demonstrate that pre-Columbian societies did not exploit resources recklessly. Instead, they integrated settlements into the natural cycles of the rainforest, maintaining productivity and ecological diversity over centuries. Evidence suggests that humans actively guided forest composition. Certain tree species useful for food, medicine, or construction appear more frequently near settlements. Lidar reveals planting patterns aligned with roads, mounds, and plazas. Agroforestry plots were carefully located to take advantage of elevation, water access, and sunlight. The forest was modified without wholesale clearing. Planting, enrichment, and selective removal created a mosaic of natural and cultivated habitats. Humans acted as gardeners, managing the environment to support life for themselves and for the species they relied upon. Water management also reflects ecological integration. Canals, reservoirs, and raised fields controlled seasonal floods, ensuring agricultural productivity without harming surrounding forests. Water flow was directed to fields and settlements while maintaining natural wetlands. Terraces slowed runoff and reduced erosion. Mounds provided refuge from high water. This network of hydrological engineering worked with the rainforest rather than against it. Lidar imagery makes these systems visible, showing patterns of water control that support both human settlements and forest ecosystems. Forest regeneration continued alongside cultivation. Areas once cleared for fields or plazas eventually returned to forest as plots were abandoned or rotated. Old canals and terraces are sometimes overgrown, yet the underlying structures remain detectable by Lidar. This layering of human modification and natural regrowth illustrates how ancient people maintained a dynamic balance with the forest. Land was productive but resilient, shaped to support human life while allowing ecosystems to persist and regenerate over time. Trade and resource distribution also influenced ecology. Roads and rivers connected distant settlements, allowing movement of food, plants, and raw materials. People transported fertile soil, crop seedlings, and construction materials between regions. Canals facilitated fishery management and movement of water-based resources. The networked settlements created a managed landscape at regional scales, integrating human activity with natural cycles of rainfall, river flooding, and seasonal growth. The environment was both influenced by and adapted to human settlement patterns. Lidar has revealed that areas previously thought pristine contain extensive signs of alteration. Where dense forest appears untouched, earthworks, canals, terraces, and mounds lie hidden. Even river courses were sometimes modified to improve transport, irrigation, or drainage. Paths and roads link distant villages. Raised fields punctuate floodplains. These hidden features show that the human imprint on the Amazon was widespread, though subtle. Ancient societies had long shaped biodiversity, hydrology, and vegetation patterns without industrial tools or deforestation methods. The integration of agriculture and forest management is evident in settlement layouts. Fields were located to maximize sunlight and drainage while preserving forested areas for resources. Terraces, mounds, and raised fields created microenvironments for crops. Planting zones, orchards, and managed forest plots coexisted with wild vegetation. Water channels connected fields to reservoirs and rivers, providing irrigation without disrupting surrounding ecosystems. This holistic approach allowed humans to maintain dense populations while preserving the rainforest's diversity. Wildlife populations were influenced by human activity, but not eliminated. Managed forests encouraged animals that provided food or labor, while natural habitats remained. Canals and reservoirs supported fish populations, and small mammals were hunted sustainably. Agroforestry created niches for birds, insects, and other species. Settlement patterns reflect careful placement to maintain both food production and biodiversity. The human presence was active but moderated, enhancing productivity while avoiding ecological collapse. Lidar makes visible the imprint of human activity at multiple scales. Individual terraces, mounds, and canals are clear. Regional networks of settlements, roads, and irrigation channels demonstrate long-term landscape modification. Elevation models show where water management infrastructure was implemented. Color-coded images highlight different levels of anthropogenic impact. Even subtle features such as small raised fields or minor channels contribute to understanding how humans adapted to and shaped the rainforest environment. Technology allows researchers to reconstruct centuries of human-environment interaction in rich detail. The evidence reveals that human influence in the Amazon predates modern logging, agriculture, or industry. Ancient populations modified the land to meet their needs sustainably. Roads, canals, and fields show that humans could maintain high productivity while preserving forest integrity. Lidar shows networks extending for kilometers, connecting settlements, agricultural plots, and water systems. Human activity shaped biodiversity and hydrology long before European contact, demonstrating that dense rainforest is not pristine in the sense of being untouched by human hands. The forest itself is a product of interaction over centuries. Ancient land management balanced cultivation, settlement, and forest preservation. Raised fields elevated crops above flood zones, canals provided irrigation, and mounds protected homes. Agroforestry and selective planting enhanced food security while supporting biodiversity. Roads and paths allowed movement of people and goods without disrupting natural areas. Forest regeneration and soil enrichment created productive, long-lasting environments. Lidar provides a window into this sophisticated system, showing patterns that are invisible to the human eye but crucial for understanding ecological history. In some regions, settlements cluster around fertile soils and waterways, forming productive networks that integrate agriculture and natural habitats. Canals regulate seasonal flooding while sustaining fish populations. Mounds and terraces manage water runoff. Orchards and enriched forests provide resources for humans and wildlife alike. These systems reveal careful observation, adaptation, and planning, demonstrating that pre-Columbian societies shaped the Amazon to sustain life at large scales. The forest, while dense, was not random or untouched. It was cultivated, engineered, and carefully maintained. By revealing the hidden landscape, Lidar challenges assumptions about what natural rainforest is. Human influence stretches across valleys, hills, and floodplains. Roads, terraces, canals, and mounds create a subtle but pervasive network of modification. Settlements were planned with knowledge of hydrology, agriculture, and ecology. Agroforestry, soil enrichment, and water management supported dense populations. Biodiversity was preserved even as humans actively managed and reshaped the land. Ancient civilizations left enduring marks, demonstrating that sustainable interaction with tropical forests is possible with knowledge, planning, and observation. Ultimately, the Amazon is both natural and human-made. Lidar shows a complex interplay of forests, settlements, canals, and fields. Raised plots, terraces, and reservoirs demonstrate engineering adapted to ecological conditions. Roads and paths connect settlements, facilitating trade and movement. Agroforestry and selective planting preserve biodiversity. Soils are enriched, water is managed, and microenvironments created. The forest is alive, but it also bears the imprint of centuries of human activity. The civilizations of the Amazon transformed the landscape, leaving legacies that persist invisibly beneath the canopy. Validating Lidar data in the Amazon is not simple. The forest is dense, muddy, and remote. Archaeologists face rivers that swell after rain, thick undergrowth, and uneven terrain. Lidar reveals mounds, terraces, canals, and roads from the air, but confirming these findings on the ground requires careful, slow fieldwork. Researchers navigate flooded areas in small boats, hack through tangled vines, and measure elevations with tape and GPS. Every mound or terrace is examined, soil is sampled, and subtle features are compared with aerial scans. Ground verification is painstaking, but essential to confirm that what appears in LiDAR images corresponds to actual human construction. Even with LiDAR evidence, some experts remain skeptical. Mainstream archaeology has long considered the Amazon sparsely populated before European contact. The idea of dense, complex settlements conflicts with narratives of untouched wilderness. Some question whether observed structures are natural formations, animal-made, or remnants of short-lived communities. Lidar challenges assumptions, forcing reconsideration of conventional views. Field teams must present detailed evidence to demonstrate the scale, design, and continuity of settlements, convincing a cautious academic community that the rainforest hides vast civilizations beneath its canopy. Logistical difficulties add to controversy. Many sites are far from roads, requiring days of travel by boat, foot, or small aircraft. Accessing sites during the wet season is nearly impossible. Carrying excavation equipment, soil sampling tools, and GPS units through mud and waterlogged forests is exhausting. Teams must also navigate unpredictable weather, insects, and dangerous wildlife. Despite these obstacles, archaeologists persevere. Fieldwork bridges the gap between LiDAR images and reality, providing tangible proof of human-modified landscapes that lie hidden for centuries beneath dense vegetation. Pushback also comes from competing interpretations of environmental history. Some scholars argue that observed earthworks could result from natural processes, floods, or erosion patterns. Others question population estimates, suggesting that the forest could not have supported large communities without extensive damage. Proponents of the pristine Amazon narrative are slow to accept that pre-Columbian societies transformed the land extensively. The debate is not only academic, it challenges widely held perceptions about human impact on ecosystems and the timeline of settlement in tropical forests. Even as evidence mounts, modern threats complicate the picture. Logging, mining, and deforestation destroy both forest and archaeological sites. Areas once hidden beneath dense canopy are now exposed to human exploitation. Canals, terraces, and mounds are flattened or eroded. LiDAR has revealed sites that are already under threat, showing the fragility of both natural and cultural heritage. Archaeologists race to document and study structures before they vanish, knowing that each cleared hectare may erase centuries of human history invisible to those on the ground. Conflicts arise over conservation and land use. Local communities, governments, and commercial interests have different priorities. Some logging operations prioritize economic gain over heritage preservation. Mining and infrastructure projects cut roads directly through sites, altering hydrology and flattening earthworks. Field teams must negotiate with local authorities, indigenous communities, and stakeholders to gain access and protect fragile features. LiDAR documentation provides a map, but it cannot prevent destruction. The discoveries exist in a tension between science, development, and preservation. Technical limitations also pose challenges. LiDAR data can be misinterpreted if not carefully processed. Differences in canopy density, terrain slope, or soil reflectivity affect laser readings. Vegetation may obscure features or produce false positives. Ground truthing is necessary to verify each observation. Archaeologists must cross-reference Lidar with field measurements, soil studies, and excavation results. The process is labor-intensive and requires coordination between specialists in remote sensing, archaeology, and ecology. Without rigorous validation, the discoveries risk being dismissed or questioned. Social and political factors influence research. Some scholars and institutions resist changes to established narratives about Amazonian settlement and ecology. Funding is limited, and obtaining permits can be difficult. Research projects often depend on local collaboration, yet bureaucratic hurdles slow access to sites. Conflicting claims over land rights, protected areas, and indigenous territories further complicate fieldwork. These challenges are compounded by the urgency of environmental threats. Field teams must act quickly to document and study structures while navigating complex social, political, and logistical obstacles. The controversy extends to interpretation of the human-environment relationship. Lidar shows extensive modifications, but some argue the scale may be overstated. Are earthworks evidence of permanent settlements or short-term occupation? Do terraces and raised fields indicate intensive farming or intermittent cultivation? Researchers weigh data carefully, seeking consistency across sites, soil samples, and artifacts. Each confirmed feature strengthens the argument for large, complex pre-Columbian societies. Even so, debate continues, and every new discovery is scrutinized for methodological accuracy, cultural significance, and ecological impact. Environmental destruction heightens urgency. Logging trucks cut through forest, leaving scars visible from the air. Mining operations divert streams and flatten terrain. Roads and clearings fragment habitats, exposing archaeological sites. Some areas Lidar has revealed are already gone, lost before teams can investigate. This reality adds pressure to research, demanding fast, coordinated fieldwork and documentation. Lidar provides a blueprint, but ground validation is the only way to understand scale, structure, and function of hidden settlements. Without protection, centuries of human ingenuity may vanish within years. Despite obstacles, progress continues. Field teams traverse rivers and mud, excavate small sections, and record topography. Lidar guides researchers to likely sites, reducing time spent searching. Soil samples, pottery fragments, and carbon dating confirm human activity. Raised fields are measured, canals traced, and roads mapped. Collaboration between remote sensing experts and archaeologists strengthens conclusions. Each verified site adds confidence to interpretations, gradually shifting consensus. Evidence mounts that the Amazon housed extensive, organized civilizations, challenging assumptions about human capacity in tropical forests. Even with verification, debates remain about population size, societal complexity, and longevity of settlements. Estimates vary, and critics argue that Lidar alone cannot prove permanent occupation. Archaeologists combine multiple lines of evidence, soil enrichment, mounds, plazas, road networks, to build coherent interpretations. The process is careful, iterative, and scientific. Fieldwork corroborates airborne data, demonstrating that many features are intentional constructions, not natural anomalies. Each successful validation changes understanding of pre-Columbian human presence in the Amazon, but questions remain and controversies continue. The risk of destruction frames the research narrative. Lidar identifies hidden structures, but modern threats may erase them before full study. logging, mining and deforestation act faster than centuries of conservation. Archaeologists must document, analyze, and publish findings while remaining on site, often under difficult conditions. Canals and terraces may erode, mounds can collapse, roads may vanish under vegetation. These fragile remnants of complex societies require both scientific rigor and protective measures. Their survival is uncertain, making Lidar discoveries urgent, valuable, and time-sensitive. Visual records highlight these challenges. Field teams navigate muddy rivers, hack through dense undergrowth, and carry equipment across uneven terrain. Excavation sites show soil layers and artifacts beneath forest floors. Canals and terraces appear partially eroded or damaged by human activity. Even with Lidar guidance, ground verification is physically demanding and slow. Yet these efforts confirm what aerial scans suggest: a network of settlements, roads and waterworks shaped by human hands, hidden for centuries but vulnerable today. The Amazon's secrets are no longer invisible, but they remain fragile and contested. Ultimately, the combination of technical, environmental, and social challenges defines the field. Lidar provides unprecedented access to hidden landscapes, but field verification, excavation, and ecological study are essential. Resistance from some academics, threats from modern development, and logistical difficulties create a complex picture of discovery. Archaeologists navigate uncertainty, risk, and debate to validate findings. Every mound, terrace, and canal confirmed on the ground strengthens the argument that the Amazon was home to dense, organized civilizations. Yet controversy and challenges persist, leaving much to explore, prove, and protect. The discoveries of hidden Amazonian cities have transformed our understanding of pre-Columbian history. Long-held ideas of the rainforest as sparsely populated, dominated by small nomadic groups, no longer hold. Lidar evidence shows that tens of thousands of people lived in organized settlements, with roads, plazas, canals, and terraces. Populations were dense, communities interconnected, and settlements often extended for kilometers. These findings force historians and anthropologists to reconsider how civilizations could thrive in tropical forest environments. The Amazon was not a passive wilderness. It was shaped, managed, and organized by humans over centuries. Societal complexity emerges clearly from Lidar and field data. Settlements contain structured plazas, ceremonial spaces, and elevated mounds indicating hierarchical organization. Roads and canals connect villages over long distances, suggesting regional coordination and social oversight. Evidence of specialized structures, terraces, and water management points to division of labor and technical knowledge. The layout of settlements reflects rules or conventions that guided construction and organization. Leadership, planning, and communal cooperation were necessary to maintain these systems. Amazonian societies displayed organizational sophistication comparable to contemporary civilizations elsewhere in the world. Technological knowledge is also evident. The construction of raised fields, canals, and terraces shows understanding of hydrology and soil management. Terra preta soils demonstrate intentional enrichment, improving crop yields and supporting dense populations. Road networks were carefully aligned and mounds engineered to withstand floods. These technologies indicate not only practical skill, but also long-term planning and adaptation to local environmental challenges. Amazonian societies mastered their landscape, creating systems that sustained life while integrating with the rainforest ecosystem. The level of technology was appropriate, effective, and environmentally aware. These discoveries challenge assumptions about the development of civilization in tropical zones. Scholars previously believed that dense rainforests could not support large sedentary populations without stone construction or intensive agriculture. The Amazon demonstrates that human ingenuity can create sustainable, complex settlements using earth, plants, and water systems. Civilizations here were not primitive by comparison to Mesoamerican or European cities. They were adapted to their environment. Urban planning, engineering, and social organization occurred on a scale previously thought impossible in tropical forests. Comparisons reveal the sophistication of these societies. Lidar shows geometric earthworks, terraces, and plazas comparable in scale to Mesoamerican cities. Roads stretch across the landscape as systematically as in other ancient civilizations. Canals and reservoirs illustrate hydraulic engineering that rivals early urban centers in Asia or Europe. The main difference is material. Amazonian builders used soil, wood, and vegetation instead of stone, demonstrating adaptability and context-sensitive engineering. The logic of construction, coordination of labor, and management of resources indicate intelligence, foresight, and innovation. The implications for anthropology are profound. Social structures must have been complex to maintain road networks, water systems, and agricultural fields. Leadership would have been required to organize labor, resolve conflicts, and plan construction. Communities were connected, not isolated, implying communication, trade, and shared practices. Cultural norms likely guided construction, ceremonial activities, and resource management. Archaeological evidence now suggests that these societies were dynamic, resilient, and capable of sustaining large populations over long periods. Population estimates continue to rise with Lidar data. Large settlements may have supported several thousand individuals each, while regional networks imply tens of thousands across connected areas. These figures suggest that the Amazon had some of the densest pre-Columbian populations in the Americas. Previous assumptions of marginal populations are overturned. Dense human habitation explains extensive terra preta soils, raised fields, and engineered water systems. Knowledge, planning, and coordination were critical to sustain life at these scales, highlighting social sophistication often underestimated in historical narratives. The discovery of engineered landscapes also reframes the interaction between humans and the environment. Traditional views held that tropical forests resisted human occupation. Lidar demonstrates that humans shaped the forest while preserving biodiversity. Agroforestry, soil enrichment, and water management supported large populations without destroying surrounding ecosystems. These civilizations were not only surviving, but thriving, demonstrating sustainability, adaptation, and resilience. The environment was modified intelligently, with social and ecological knowledge deeply intertwined. Historians must reconsider how pre-Columbian societies influenced Amazonian ecology. Soil patterns, plant distribution, and water systems show centuries of intentional design. Agricultural innovations, such as raised fields and enriched soils, allowed for continuous cultivation. Road and canal networks connected settlements, facilitating trade, transport, and cultural exchange. These adaptations allowed large populations to flourish in a challenging environment. Lidar reveals these patterns over vast areas, confirming that human activity had both regional scale and long-term impact. The discoveries also impact theories about the emergence of cities. Urbanization in the Amazon shows that dense settlements, complex infrastructure, and coordinated planning can occur outside of traditionally cited cradles of civilization. Social complexity emerged in tropical forests through knowledge of local ecology, hydrology, and soil fertility. Leadership, labor organization, and shared cultural norms enabled societies to function efficiently. These findings suggest that civilization is not limited to stone construction or temperate zones. It can emerge wherever humans develop effective strategies for living in challenging environments. Archaeologists must now integrate Amazonian data into broader histories of the Americas. Settlements, roads, and water management systems suggest networks comparable to contemporaneous civilizations in Mesoamerica and the Andes. Social and technical sophistication appears similar, though the Amazonian adaptation was specifically suited to rainforest conditions. Ceremonial plazas, mounds, and settlement layouts indicate shared cultural norms and religious or political practices. These parallels invite comparisons while highlighting unique adaptation strategies. The Amazon emerges as a center of innovation and human ingenuity in pre-Columbian history. The findings also challenge assumptions about the impact of European contact. Dense, organized settlements may have existed at the time of first encounters, only to be disrupted or destroyed by disease, displacement, and colonization. Lidar provides evidence that the Amazon was once home to vibrant, technologically capable societies. This perspective reshapes discussions of population decline, environmental change, and cultural loss in the post-contact period. Pre-Columbian Amazonian civilizations were thriving, not marginal, at the dawn of European influence. These discoveries influence anthropological models of society. Social complexity, division of labor, leadership structures, and cultural coordination are all evident. Material evidence from Lidar and field studies demonstrates planned settlements, managed landscapes, and engineered hydrological systems. Population density and regional networks imply communication, trade, and cooperation on large scales. Anthropologists must now incorporate Amazonian examples into models of urbanization, sustainability, and societal resilience. The rainforest was not a barrier, it was a stage for human ingenuity. Comparisons to European and Mesoamerican cities highlight similarities and contrasts. While stone construction dominates in those regions, Amazonian settlements used soil, vegetation, and hydrological engineering to achieve similar levels of organization. Plazas, roads, and defensive structures demonstrate urban planning and social order. Canals and terraces illustrate adaptation to environmental challenges. Lidar allows these features to be compared directly, revealing both unique solutions and universal principles of urban development. Amazonian civilizations are now recognized as sophisticated, regionally connected, and technologically capable. Ultimately, the implications are both scientific and historical. Pre-Columbian Amazonian societies were large, complex, and interconnected. They transformed landscapes, managed resources, and maintained social cohesion over long periods. Population estimates, technological knowledge, and urban planning challenge previous notions of what civilization could achieve in tropical forests. Lidar provides visual confirmation of structures, networks, and engineering systems. Fieldwork corroborates these findings. Together, they rewrite history, demonstrating that the Amazon was home to flourishing societies with knowledge, skills, and social organization equal to many other ancient civilizations. By revealing the scale, complexity, and environmental adaptation of Amazonian settlements, Lidar reshapes anthropology and history. Dense populations, engineered landscapes, and regional networks demonstrate social and technological sophistication. Urban planning, water management, and agriculture reveal mastery of environment and sustainability. These civilizations thrived long before European contact, challenging assumptions about tropical forests and human potential. The Amazon was neither empty nor simple. It was a stage for complex human societies, capable of innovation, organization, and long-term resilience, reshaping our understanding of pre-Columbian history. Lidar has revolutionized archaeology, allowing scientists to see through dense forests and reveal what was once hidden. The Amazon was only the beginning. Researchers now use the technology to survey other remote areas around the world. Mountains, deserts, and jungles reveal traces of human activity invisible from the ground. Each scan provides layers of information showing terraces, roads, and settlements beneath vegetation. Patterns emerge where traditional survey methods would have failed. Lidar transforms exploration from guesswork into precise mapping, offering a new lens to understand ancient human activity. Integration of artificial intelligence enhances this process. AI algorithms process massive datasets, detecting geometric shapes, linear features, and anomalies in the terrain. Thousands of square kilometers can be analyzed quickly, highlighting areas likely to contain archaeological structures. The combination of LiDAR and AI reduces time spent on field searches and increases the accuracy of predictions. Patterns of settlements, road networks, and water management systems emerge automatically, revealing relationships across landscapes that humans alone could not easily see. Technology accelerates discovery while maintaining scientific rigor. Three-dimensional mapping creates immersive visualizations. Animations show hidden roads, canals, and plazas, emerging layer by layer from dense forests. Researchers can rotate, zoom, and explore landscapes digitally, examining connections across kilometers. Augmented reality overlays allow archaeologists to walk the terrain virtually, visualizing mounds and terraces before reaching the site physically. This interactive approach guides fieldwork, helps plan excavations, and enhances understanding of how settlements were organized. Digital tools bring ancient landscapes to life, making the invisible tangible for scientists and the public alike. Collaboration between disciplines and communities is now central. Remote sensing specialists, archaeologists, ecologists, and local knowledge holders work together. Indigenous communities provide insight into traditional land use, oral histories, and environmental understanding. Governments facilitate access, permitting surveys and providing protection for sensitive areas. This multidisciplinary approach ensures that discoveries are scientifically accurate, culturally respectful, and socially responsible. Technology bridges gaps between expertise, enabling more complete interpretations of ancient landscapes. Modern LiDAR campaigns prioritize environmental and cultural preservation. Maps generated by scans identify areas of high archaeological value before logging, mining, or development occurs. Researchers can document sites at risk and provide authorities with precise locations. Digital records preserve knowledge even if physical structures are destroyed. This proactive approach reduces loss of cultural heritage while highlighting the scale and significance of human activity in previously unseen areas. Technology not only reveals history, but protects it for future study. Animated visualizations reveal patterns that span decades or centuries. Temporal mapping shows expansion, contraction, or reorganization of settlements over time. Raised fields, canals, and roads can be compared across layers to infer periods of construction or abandonment. This historical perspective enhances understanding of social, economic, and environmental adaptation. Scientists can reconstruct sequences of occupation, agricultural development, and urban planning without disturbing the landscape. Lidar provides both spatial and temporal insight, giving depth to knowledge previously accessible only through limited excavation. AI also identifies subtle anthropogenic features. Minor terraces, small canals, and low mounds become detectable through pattern recognition. Machines can flag anomalies that human eyes might overlook, particularly in uneven terrain or dense vegetation. These discoveries allow archaeologists to study settlements comprehensively, integrating large and small-scale features into cohesive interpretations. Lidar and AI together uncover the full extent of human modification, from central plazas to peripheral agricultural fields, revealing social and economic organization across multiple scales. The combination of Lidar, AI, and 3D visualization transforms field strategy. Teams can prioritize high-probability areas, plan safe routes through difficult terrain, and allocate resources efficiently. Ground verification remains essential, but technology reduces risk, travel time, and effort. Researchers move from exploratory missions to targeted investigations, confirming predictions with minimal disturbance. Augmented reality overlays guide excavation teams, showing where canals, mounds, and terraces align with digital scans. Fieldwork and technology are now integrated, enhancing both accuracy and efficiency. Global applications are expanding. Remote forests in Southeast Asia, jungles in Central Africa, and mountainous regions in South America are being scanned systematically. Ancient settlements, road networks, and water management systems are emerging worldwide, hidden beneath vegetation. Patterns observed in the Amazon provide models for interpretation elsewhere. Lidar helps scientists ask new questions about settlement size, connectivity, and environmental adaptation. Ancient human ingenuity is visible across continents, revealing convergent strategies for survival in diverse ecosystems. Local communities play a vital role. Knowledge of terrain, traditional practices, and oral history complements technology. Community members assist with navigation, field verification, and interpretation of features. Collaborative work ensures that findings respect cultural heritage and provide benefits to local populations. Governments support this integration by permitting surveys, funding research, and protecting vulnerable sites. Together, technology, science, and human insight create a more complete picture of ancient landscapes than any single approach could achieve. Data from Lidar and AI feeds into virtual reconstructions. Scientists can model daily life, settlement expansion, and agricultural patterns. Canals, roads, and terraces appear in three-dimensional simulations, allowing researchers to explore how water flowed, crops were cultivated, and communities were connected. This visualization helps test hypotheses about labor, trade, and societal organization. Virtual reconstructions also serve educational purposes, communicating complex information to broader audiences in intuitive, engaging ways. The integration of modern technology extends to monitoring and preservation. Satellites and drones supplement Lidar, tracking deforestation, erosion, and changes to archaeological sites. Digital archives store scanned data, ensuring that evidence persists even if physical structures deteriorate. Researchers can revisit data repeatedly, analyze changes over time, and refine models without disturbing the land. Technology enables ongoing study of both ecological and cultural landscapes, preserving knowledge for generations to come. Lidar and AI uncover relationships previously hidden. Roads connecting distant settlements become visible, canals linking fields and plazas are measured, and patterns of urban planning emerge. Settlements once thought isolated are now seen as nodes in regional networks. This reveals not only how ancient people lived, but how societies coordinated, distributed resources, and adapted to their environment. Technology makes visible the scale, intelligence, and adaptability of human activity across vast landscapes. Visual storytelling has changed. Animated scans show forests peeling back, revealing geometric patterns, mounds, and terraces beneath. Color coding distinguishes terraces, roads, and canals. Layers illustrate temporal changes, showing construction, maintenance, and abandonment phases. Augmented reality overlays allow viewers to understand spatial relationships in context. Technology transforms interpretation from static maps to dynamic, interactive experiences, making ancient landscapes accessible in ways that were once impossible. The combination of technology and local knowledge creates a feedback loop. Lidar identifies features, field teams validate them, AI analyzes patterns, and local insight provides context. Each cycle refines understanding, confirming hypotheses, or revealing new questions. The process accelerates discovery, deepens interpretation, and ensures cultural sensitivity. Modern technology does not replace traditional archaeology. It enhances it, enabling a broader and more accurate comprehension of ancient human activity. Ultimately, the integration of Lidar, AI, 3D mapping, and collaboration allows scientists to uncover ancient civilizations in ways previously unimaginable. Hidden settlements, roads, canals, and terraces become visible, measurable, and analyzable. Researchers can study human adaptation, social organization, and environmental management at unprecedented scales. Technology bridges the past and present, revealing not just what humans built, but how societies functioned, interacted, and thrived in landscapes once thought impenetrable. Ancient knowledge and modern innovation converge to rewrite understanding of human history. The Amazon, once imagined as untouched and wild, now tells a different story. Hidden beneath the dense canopy are traces of human ingenuity, landscapes shaped for agriculture, settlements, and water management. These discoveries challenge long-held assumptions about humans and the natural world. For centuries, we believed forests were purely natural, unmodified spaces. Lidar proves this view incomplete. Human footprints are layered beneath every hill, terrace, and canal. The forest is both natural and human-made, a coexistence that extends far beyond what we imagined. These revelations force a reconsideration of our place in the environment. Humanity is not separate from nature, nor merely destructive. The Amazon demonstrates that societies can thrive while shaping ecosystems responsibly. Raised fields and enriched soils, canals and terraces, roads and settlements, all coexisted with biodiversity. People managed resources without overwhelming the system. This balance, achieved over centuries, suggests lessons for resilience and sustainability. Ancient knowledge shows that adaptation, observation, and careful planning can produce lasting harmony between humans and their surroundings. The footprints left behind are subtle but profound. Mounds rise from the forest floor, terraces align with hills. Canals follow natural drainage. Roads and plazas connect settlements across kilometers. Every structure reflects decision-making, understanding of hydrology, and coordination among communities. Lidar makes these invisible traces visible, revealing not only what was built, but the logic behind it. The scale of human activity is greater than previously acknowledged, yet it demonstrates that impact need not equate to destruction. The Amazon shows that thoughtful interaction with ecosystems can support human life while preserving nature. There is also a temporal perspective. These civilizations existed long before European contact. The structures have endured through centuries of growth, decay, and regrowth of the forest. Soils remain fertile, canals are still visible, and terraces persist beneath trees. Lidar captures this layering of time, allowing scientists to read centuries of human-environment interaction. Each feature is a record of decision-making, adaptation, and survival. The Amazon is a living archive, a combination of memory, ecology, and human ingenuity, showing that landscapes themselves carry stories of resilience. Global implications emerge from these discoveries. Remote sensing now reveals hidden human influence worldwide. Forests, mountains, deserts, and wetlands may contain similarly modified landscapes. Each hidden settlement, canal, or terrace reframes our understanding of how societies adapt to extreme or challenging environments. Human creativity and environmental adaptation are not isolated phenomena. They are global patterns. By studying the Amazon, we gain insight into the potential for humans to coexist with nature, to build societies without erasing ecosystems, and to leave legacies that endure. The Amazon also challenges ideas of wilderness. Spaces once assumed pristine were, in fact, carefully cultivated. Biodiversity thrived alongside settlements, and the forest was productive yet resilient. These lessons extend to conservation and development. Preservation strategies must consider both human and natural history. Protecting forests also preserves the subtle traces of societies that shaped them. The forest becomes a palimpsest of human activity, a record of intelligent interaction with complex ecosystems that prompts us to rethink the meaning of untouched nature. Resilience and adaptation are central themes. Societies thrived despite seasonal floods, shifting soils, and climatic challenges. Raised fields prevented crops from drowning. Canals channeled water efficiently. Settlement layouts accommodated terrain and ecological patterns. Lidar reveals the intelligence of design, the awareness of environmental constraints, and the ability to plan across generations. These civilizations demonstrate that humans can live sustainably in diverse environments when knowledge, observation, and planning are applied effectively. Legacy is another lesson. Structures endure because they were built with purpose and understanding of the environment. Roads, canals, mounds, and terraces remain detectable centuries later. Soils enriched through terra preta still support vegetation. Settlements were not temporary. They were designed for longevity. The Amazon teaches that human actions can have lasting positive impact when aligned with ecological systems. These civilizations are reminders that our relationship with the environment can leave a constructive mark, not only an extractive one. There is a sense of humility in these findings. Even with modern technology, we have only uncovered a fraction of the human imprint. Lidar scans reveal tens of thousands of structures, yet many remain hidden under forest, under soil, or beneath layers of regrowth. Each discovery prompts new questions. How many settlements remain undiscovered? How did communities coordinate over vast distances? What other innovations did they employ? The forest contains answers that are still waiting to be revealed, inviting exploration, observation, and patience. Reflection extends beyond archaeology into philosophy. The Amazon reminds us that human presence and natural systems are not opposites. Societies adapted to their environment, learned from it, and modified it responsibly. Technology now allows us to perceive these interactions, bridging past and present. As we map, analyze, and visualize the hidden structures, we see not only evidence of survival, but of coexistence. This understanding challenges assumptions about development, conservation, and sustainability, and suggests that intelligence and care can leave enduring marks on the Earth. The visual record deepens this perspective. From above, Lidar maps show intricate networks of canals, terraces, and roads snaking beneath the canopy. Aerial sequences reveal settlements gradually emerging from the forest. Animated layers show the interplay of natural growth and human construction. Sunset over the canopy highlights the silhouette of mounds and terraces. Zooming into individual structures, we perceive planning, labor, and purpose. The imagery is both scientific and poetic, revealing the Amazon as a landscape of human resilience intertwined with natural beauty. The philosophical lesson is open-ended. Every discovery suggests further mysteries. Even with advanced technology, we cannot yet see everything. Hidden settlements, terraces, and canals remain, waiting for detection. The rainforest continues to hide stories of human ingenuity, ecological knowledge, and social organization. Lidar is a tool, not a conclusion. It invites ongoing curiosity and exploration, reminding us that human history is far richer and more complex than previously imagined. What other civilizations, long obscured, might still exist beneath dense canopies or buried landscapes? Ultimately, the Amazon teaches about connection. Humans, environment, and technology intersect in profound ways. Ancient societies demonstrate resilience, planning, and harmony with nature. Modern tools reveal the invisible, while fieldwork and local knowledge validate and interpret these findings. The forest, layered with history, ecology, and culture, challenges assumptions about human potential and environmental limits. Lidar shows us that even in the most remote areas, human presence matters, and that our understanding of the world is always evolving. As the sun sets over the canopy, light touches mounds and terraces hidden for centuries. Roads and canals trace paths once walked by thousands. Lidar scans fade into augmented visualizations, showing the forest as both natural and human-crafted. The landscape invites reflection on adaptation, ingenuity, and legacy. Human hands shaped these forests long before modern intervention. What else remains concealed, waiting for technology, curiosity, and care to reveal it? The Amazon is alive with history, and it whispers that discovery is far from complete.